Okay guys, Mr. Shiny Gyarados here with something different this time. Instead of our normal Let's Play, I'm going to be doing if you haven't read the title yet, a top 15 favorite boss themes in video games. Because, you know, boss themes are a fun challenge in video games, and it's hard to think of something that creates atmosphere more in a boss fight than music does. I mean, there's other stuff, but music is important. It definitely is important. So that's what we're going to be doing today in this video, whenever you're watching. But before we actually start this, I just want to throw in a few honorable mentions, you know, songs that aren't actually on the list, or at least groups of songs that aren't on the list, and kind of explain a tiny bit why. And I'm going to start off with, there is one Zelda theme, I'll say right now, kind of spoilers. There's only one Zelda theme on this list. And, you know, honorable mentions is going to be just about any Zelda boss theme you can think of. And I was just looking back, it's just too dark and depressing. A lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And it really kind of bummed me out, because it's like, yeah, I understand this is a big bad guy, but I'm also the hero of time. Remind me of that in the song a bit. You know, you don't have to be like completely forget the dark and depressing, but, you know, I just like it when it has a little change of pace in the song. It's nice. So that's why a lot of Zelda songs aren't on this list. And that will bring me up to my next one, One-Winged Angel. And yeah, it's just very dark and depressing. And you know what? I don't really care that much for Sephiroth. Sorry, people. I'd take Kuja any day. Yep. And then the last sort of honorable mention, well, actually, I'm gonna have to, after that, I'm gonna just say a lot of Final Fantasy themes as well. I just didn't get a chance to, well, I looked at a lot of them and they're great, and sometimes they're just not unique to a boss, and then they're just battle themes, and that's why a lot of them didn't make the list. Same thing with Tales of Series songs was a reason why they didn't show up as much. And the last song that I'm going to put a mention in is Enter the Void for Vanitas Remnants. It's an amazing song, and it really pained me to have to put it off the list, but ultimately I think what's going to put it off the list is I did factor in the memorability of the boss a bit into the, obviously it wasn't the biggest factor, but it was definitely a factor. And Vanitas Remnants is an optional boss, and that kind of hurts the memorability of a boss in terms of story-wise, because it's sort of just an optional boss there. And on that note, let us get down to business and start this off with a bang. And what better way to start this list off with a bang than at number 15, Open Your Heart, Perfect Chaos, Sonic Adventure. This song is a classic in my opinion, as it debuted with Sonic's debut into 3D, or at least his true 3D debut, as everyone, most Sonic fans would say, and it brought us an amazing hit by Crush 40 in this song, and it would be the start of many hits to come with Crush 40. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that it was a good idea for them to bring Crush 40 into the Sonic universe, because they might have delivered some big hits. And the first one is still a classic to this day. I love listening to it. It is an amazing song. And honestly, one of the few songs on here that actually has lyrics, because a lot of theme songs don't exactly, or boss themes don't exactly have lyrics, but Sonic has shown us that they can be good if done right, and I can't say enough about how good Crush 40 does with this song. This song it's a classic from 1998. I mean, this was amazing, and it really showed us the promise especially in the music that because Sonic's always had good music, but with the transition to 3D, you know, they tried to up their game by bringing in more rock and roll-ish in songs like this, and they did an amazing job. And with that, I think we can move on to number 14. And at number 14, we have Demise Phase 2 from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now, when I went back looking at quite a bit of Zelda boss themes that they've had over the years, I was fairly disappointed in quite a bit of them for what I'll call being too dark and sinister and depressing without actually motivating me, reminding me that I am, in fact, the hero of time in most cases, or the hero of winds or whatever, but I'm a hero. Yes, this guy may be big and bad. However, I'm the guy who has a chance to defeat him. And they just haven't reminded me of that a whole lot, and this song is an exception to that, and that's part of the reason I put this on this list. It's an amazing piece for motivating you. I mean, I totally realize I'm the hero of time. In fact, the original in most Zelda in the Zelda timeline lore, and that's why I like this song a lot. It has some dark undertones and whatnot, but at the same time, it reminds me I'm the hero of time, and it gives me hope that maybe going forward they'll do more with that in terms of boss themes going forward. So Zelda, I hope to see that in the future, because I love your games, and I'd love to see you have more motivational boss themes going forward. And with that, we can move on to number 13. At number 13, we have Rage Awaken, The Origin, Terra-Xehanort Phase 2 from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Now, it's no secret that I am a big Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep fan, as well as a big Kingdom Hearts fan in general, and Yoko Shinomura has created some major hits, in my opinion, in terms of the soundtrack over the years, and some of the boss themes, I have to say, are amazing, and this is no exception, and this is only 13th, and it's not even my favorite in the game. There are a lot of other ones I like better than this, but this is still an amazing song for the first phase of Terra-Xehanort, when you have to fight as Aqua, who's FYI my favorite character to use in Kingdom Hearts so far, but that's not important to this review pretty much. I mean, I did take the bosses into account, and I have to say the boss definitely is an amazing boss. I love fighting Terra-Xehanort. It's great final boss for the game too, and this theme is just amazing. It's tough to describe, but it's got that dark feel to it, but at the same time it never depresses me. It never it never ceases to, maybe it's just me, but it pumps me up a lot of the time, and a lot of the songs on from Kingdom Hearts have done that, especially songs that were boss themes, and that's what I'll call sort of, in a lot of ways, reverse Zelda syndrome, as I'll call it, just because of how I said in the last part, the depressing songs. But this song is an amazing hit, and I kind of feel bad for putting it down this low, but at the same time, there are a lot of songs that you'll probably hear me say coming up that I feel bad I put them this low, even though they're great songs, and this one is no exception. And with that, I think we can move on to number 12. And at number 12, we have another song from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. It's Enter the Darkness from the Vanitas battles. And I won't lie, that memorability of not just the boss, but the themes definitely played a role into me judging these. And I gotta tell you, I can't imagine a song better fitting, in my opinion, for Vanitas, because whenever I hear this song, the only thing I can think of is him. This song is so attached, in my opinion, to him that I can't see it with anything else. It's perfect in that. I think it's really good in that sense, because that's what a boss theme should do. It should be memorable, and if it makes me, anytime I hear this theme, think of that boss, then it did its job, in my opinion. And especially that beginning part. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, Vanitas, let's go, let's fight him. And that's what I want in a boss theme. I want a theme like that. I want it to be memorable. So whenever I hear it, I want to think of that boss. I want it to fit that boss. And Yoko Shinomura did an amazing job with this. It, in my opinion at least, it epitomizes Vanitas. I can't see any song other than this for Vanitas. This is his boss theme, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And with that, I think we can move on now to number 11. And at number 11, we have Guardando nel Buio. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's Ansem's theme from the original Kingdom Hearts. The final boss theme that kicked off it all for Kingdom Hearts. And even though I was late to the party, as I was not one of those early Kingdom Hearts people. I came in late, but this song in this game is still very memorable to me, just because of how much I love the series, even though I got into it late. But it's still one of my favorite games of all time, the original. Although I will concede that I think Birth by Sleep is my favorite in the series. This one is still high up there, and the final boss is still very memorable to me. It's one of the things I remember because it was, in my opinion, it was a kind of unique, and it still is a pretty unique final boss in the Kingdom Hearts universe. I mean, with its different phases that are just a bit unique. That I actually, looking back and watching the final boss again, I realized just how unique of a boss, in my opinion, it was. Especially when I look at some of the more recent ones. Now, I love Xehanort as a villain. He's amazing. But some of the bosses, I just don't get that same feel of originality from them, just in general in lots of Kingdom Hearts games. Outside of, some of these, the human sort of characters that have come up, like the organization members and Vanitas and Xehanort. But this is a very unique one that incorporated with the Heartless, and I think it did a really good job, of that in the original game, and I loved how they sort of put that uniqueness into it, and this song will always stick with me just because of that, and how I remember, okay, that was that original first final boss in the Kingdom Hearts universe, and it is still... I'll go back and play that game again, if for nothing else, then, well, I do enjoy the game a lot, but I would do it for that final boss, because that is a fun final boss, and I love fighting it. And with that, I think we can now move on to number 10. At number 10, we have Dark Messenger for the Transkuja fight from Final Fantasy IX, my favorite Final Fantasy game in the series. And I just love Kuja as a villain. I know there's a lot of people who would be like Sephiroth and whatnot, but no. I just don't. Kuja has always been, or maybe not always, but he's definitely my favorite in the Final Fantasy universe by far. And this song is simply amazing. I feel bad that it's this low. I know I said earlier that I was going to say this a lot, and it's true. I feel bad for putting it down at number 10, because this is an amazing piece. I mean, it's got definitely a lot of dark undertones with like the organ and whatnot. I think it's an organ. Don't quote me on that. I'm not the best with music, but it's just like this part right now. There's that rocking piece. That super motivates me, and not to mention the part at the beginning with the sort of "We Will Rock You"-esque part in the song. That just motivates me. It's just, yeah, it's got a lot of dark undertones, and I'll admit that's good, it's not a bad thing. However, the fact that it pumps me up as well is simply a testament to just how good the song is, and I like that in my boss themes. It can be dark at parts, but I also like it to motivate me, because especially in a lot of JRPGs, I'm the hero who can save the day. Remind me of that, and this song does, in my opinion, really well. And does anyone else get a very sort of almost metal opera feel to this song? with the whole like the piano and then the guitars and whatnot. I really think it's a very well done piece in that opinion, because I love that. So that's really, really interesting piece of music, and that's what this song is, as well as a great boss theme. It's just an interesting piece of music to me. And does anyone else get very Nightwish vibes from this piano part right here? I mean, I guess that would sort of coincide with the whole metal opera thing, because that's what Nightwish sort of is. But I just think it's just a beautiful part in this song too. And it really complements the rest of the song in my opinion. I can't say enough about just how good of a musical piece I think this is. And I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it off there. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it off there. So now let's move on to number 9. And at number 9 we have Live and Learn from Final Hazard from Sonic Adventure 2. Another classic that Crush 40 has done for the Sonic universe, and in my opinion probably my second favorite song they've ever done for Sonic. I'd put personally in All Hail Shadow ahead of it, although I know a lot of people would probably think I'm crazy for that, but that's just me. But we're not going to talk about that in this video because that's not a boss theme, so that won't be considered. But this is definitely my favorite Crush 40 song, or boss theme that they've done. This is just an amazing song. So much nostalgia too. I remember like 3rd grade was when I was playing Sonic Adventure 2. Good times. And just amazing song. I'm sorry. I just love it way too much. Live and learn, hanging on the edge of tomorrow. And now you know I all suck at sing. Now you all know I suck at sing. Well, I'm sorry. But oh my god, I just love this song when it comes to just the lyrics. It's just such an I can't describe it. It's nostalgic for me, and that's part of the reason it's on this list. And I actually feel bad that it only got number 9, but there was a lot of really good songs that it had to contend with, and this is where ultimately I felt it settled. But with that, let's move on to number 8. And at number 8 we have El Impeto Oscura. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's Young Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts 3DS. Now, I had a lot of sort of, especially looking back, I just never felt like a lot of the bosses in 3DS stood out to me as much as they have in past games in Kingdom Hearts series. I just felt like they did too many just of the Dream Eater bosses and not enough human-like or bosses like they've done in the past. Now this was not that. This was a good human-done boss, and it was really, really... In Young Xehanort, of course, I love when he's in as one of the main villains in a game. I just like it. And then this song, in this battle, which you do as Riku, which personally I like more, because you're not using Sora, but whatever. This song is just amazing. And then this violin part, solo part, is like amazing. I keep thinking, like, how could I have put this only at number 8 when this song is just so amazing? But again, it's another one of those songs that I feel really bad for putting as low, because this is an amazing song. Oh man. It's just, the atmosphere it builds is just, I think, perfect for me. It just, because it's never completely dark, it's never completely unmotivating. It's just, for me, it's just a great mesh of the two, which I wanted a boss theme, and this does an amazing job, in my opinion, of that. This song is incredible, in my opinion. And Young Xehanort is a really fun boss, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe it was just me being slightly over-leveled the first time I did it, and it was kind of easier than I expected, than most people probably had, but I found it really fun, though. And it fits Xehanort for me, especially a young Xehanort. Oh yeah, you're gonna beat me. I'm gonna rewind time and regain health. Yeah, that's how. And then you have to just it's a very memorable boss theme for me, and this was probably one of the reasons, as well as just the late game in general, why Kingdom Hearts 3DS started to really grow on me. Because originally I didn't think much, but it definitely grew on me. And this boss theme, this song, and they're just amazing. And since I've been rambling on for a while, I think I'm going to stop and let's move on to number 7. And at number 7 we have Black Powder, Master Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Now, I had said earlier how I just felt like whenever I heard Enter the Darkness, I always thought of Vanitas. And this is another one of those songs that just, I can never not think of Master Xehanort when I hear this. This is his song for me. And that's again one of the things I really want in a boss theme, memorability. And my god is Master Xehanort just a memorable boss for me in general, because just he's such a memorable villain, as I've been rambling on for in this video, probably more than I should have, but... And then this song, it's just Master Xehanort. I cannot... It's, again, these two I'll always combine, this theme and Master Xehanort. I can never... They're inseparable in my opinion. And it's just an amazing song, in my opinion, as well. Because, again, it's one of these songs, it definitely has a dark feel to it, but it's never depressingly dark. And I think that works. And I think that's, what most boss themes, especially in JRPGs, need more of. And this song, and just Master Xehanort in general, they go hand in hand for me, and that's one of the things. Memorable boss, just memorable music, and it gets high marks for me, and that's why it's at number 7. Now let's move on to number 6. And at number 6 we have Scrap and Build Ourselves, Frederick Chopin from Eternal Sonata. Now personally, Motoi Sakuraba, who composed this piece, is my favorite composer in just video games. He's my favorite. I love his work, and personally I think he outdid himself with this, because I love his music, like I said, but this song especially, it blew me away. It went above and beyond what I expected from a Motoi Sakuraba piece, and it's still an amazing piece. It's just not what I expected, and I love that. And this boss is also a very memorable boss in my opinion. If you ever played Eternal Sonata, I mean, this is memorable because it's not, I know how I said earlier, I like when games build me up for the final boss, or one of the very last boss, that you build up a villain or the main guy you have to beat. But this one, I'll give it 100% leeway, because Frederick, who you fight, spoilers here, I'm pretty sure you could use him in the boss fight right before... Well, when I say right before this, I mean the previous boss fight. It's been a while since I've been deep into the seeing what happened in Eternal Sonata, so I'm sorry if don't know the specifics exactly, but you're with him through pretty much the entire game, and then all of a sudden he's the final boss and you have to fight him. I mean, that's really memorable, because it's one of those fights, I don't want to fight him, but I have to. And that's really memorable. And somewhat sad, but this song is amazing. And I love how memorable the boss is for me, in my opinion. But I think it's outdone by this song, in my opinion. I just love Motoi Sakuraba's work, and he blew me away with this. And it's only at number 6, unfortunately, but I know there's a lot of good songs, and I gotta give props to Motoi Sakuraba for this one, though. This is an amazing piece. So now let's move on to number 5. And at number 5, we have True Final Battle, Folger Queen from Tales of Grace's F. Now, Folger Queen is probably the first boss in years that has given me so much trouble that it, other than optional bosses, that it really frustrated me the first time I fought it. I know a lot of people probably didn't have as much trouble as I did for whatever reason, but then again, I didn't have as much trouble with young Xehanort as most people did, so I'm weird like that sometimes, but this boss just gave me so many problems the first time I fought it. It was like status effects every 5 seconds on everybody, and even when, I had syrup bottles later on, it still took me 12 syrup bottles the first time I beat her just because of all the status effects. And quite frankly, that annoyed me, but at the same time, it made the boss memorable. Now, I know some people might think that's memorable, maybe not for the right reasons, but it's still memorable. It still is, and this song is a Mota Sakuraba classic in my opinion. I love this boss theme. It's an amazing, and I know how I said the last one, Mota Sakuraba blew me away with what he did, and he really did. This one, it doesn't really blow me away, but when I think Mota Sakuraba, I think a song like this. And this is the kind of things I think of when I think of boss themes from him. And he does some amazing boss themes. I feel bad I couldn't put more on this list, but the problem was, especially with a lot of Tales games, is they don't necessarily have unique boss themes. They sometimes just reuse the boss themes or the battle themes you've been hearing. So I can't really use them as boss themes, but they are amazing battle themes. And this is another amazing Mota Sakuraba work, and I'm glad I could put it all the way up here in the top 5. And with that, let's move on to number 4. And at number 4, we have Dismiss, Terra-Xehanort Phase 2 from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Now, originally when I was starting this list, I had this song rather low, but the more I listened to it, the more it just kept climbing, because it's an amazing piece for one. But then again, a lot of songs in the Kingdom Hearts series are amazing pieces. But what really set this apart for me was just how well it truly fit the mood of the battle. Because you're Aqua trying to fight, Terra-Xehanort, who's Terra essentially taken over by Xehanort. But Terra's basically your best friend, and that's sad to have to fight him. And this song really sets that mood of it. It's very sad. And like this part right here, I love the touch they added here by throwing in Terra's theme into this song, as well as having sort of more Xehanort song feel. And they did it really well in my opinion for that. And just this piano part right here is really sad, and it just fits the mood of how sad of a final battle this is. Because I don't want to have to fight him, but I have to. And this piece is really well done. I love the little touches they added into it too, with, like, as I said, Terra's theme thrown in. That was a nice touch, because it's not just Xehanort. There's Terra in there, and that's part of the battle too. We know Terra's in there. We're trying to reach out to him whilst trying to fight Xehanort at the same time. And it's a sad fight, in my opinion. Arguably one of the saddest moments in video games of late for me. Still not as memorable in that sense as some other moments, but it's definitely on there as one of the sadder moments in video games for me. And this song does a perfect job, in my opinion, of setting that mood. And on that note, let's move on to number 3. And at number 3, we have Solaris Phase 2 from Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Now, this game gets a bad rep, for good reason, I might add. And I could go on, talking about how bad a game it is, but this isn't about the game. This song, let me tell you, is simply amazing. I know how I said earlier that I loved Crush 40's, final boss themes, and I had sort of questioned why they had, strayed away from that and went on a different note. This song showed me that they can do amazing final boss themes again without the need for Crush 40, because this is simply an amazingly done orchestra piece, in my opinion. It pumps me up so much. This is arguably one of the top 3 most listened to songs on my PSP, because I listen to my songs on my PSP. But it's also why it's probably number 3rd. But with the 2 being to come, but I know how I was talking about memorability of bosses and whatnot. Well, Solaris Phase 2. Now, I may not have played the game, but I've seen the game. Oh, have I seen the game, and it is bad. But Solaris actually looks like a Sonic boss. Go figure, because of how that game went. But that's that, and that makes it kind of memorable in my opinion. Again, not necessarily memorable for the right reasons, but it's memorable, at least in my opinion. But this song is just simply amazing, though. I will have to say that. I just love this song. It's an amazing piece. It pumps me up like only few other songs can do, and arguably on the level that, in terms of shows or anything, has ever done, only Bakuman has provided for me. So I give it a huge amount of respect, in my opinion, for that. And I just love it. It's so well done. It's just an amazing piece, and that's really what ended up putting it number 3 on the list for me, is just how well done of a piece it is, and it just motivates me so much. And now, let's move on to number 2. And at number 2, we have Versus Nega-Wisp Armor Phase 2 from Sonic Colors. This song is even better, in my opinion, than Solaris Phase 2, which is one of my favorite songs of all time, therefore putting this one higher on that list. And arguably, it's also on that list of the top 3 most listened to songs on my PSP as well. And I just love this song to death. Like I said, how Solaris Phase 2 motivates me, this one does even more, in my opinion. It's amazing. And well, let's actually talk about the boss part now, because hey, guess what? Eggman's the final boss again. Now, it's been a while since he's been the final boss, so that right there, in and of itself, is memorable in my opinion. And he's also the final boss in a Sonic game that's 3D and done well. Granted, Sonic Colors was kind of a 3D, 2D mix, and probably didn't actually have as much 3D as you'd expect. But hey, it's still a well-done Sonic game of recent years, especially compared to Sonic 06. But and Eggman's the true final boss. It's not this Monster of the Week formula, and that's really memorable in my opinion. Dr. Eggman, final boss again, in a good Sonic game. I want to see more, Sega. I want to see more. And then just this song, again, is an amazing orchestra piece. It's actually an orchestra remix of the opening theme for the game, Reach for the Stars, and I think it's done amazing. Now, I may have a soft spot for orchestra remix of vocalized songs. Look at Sonic, look at Solaris Phase 2. That's actually a remix of his world, which is Sonic's theme in Sonic 06. But I may have a soft spot for it, but I just think they're amazingly well done pieces of work, and especially this one. It was so close, I feel, yet so far from being number 1, that I just had to put it number 2 though, because it's an amazingly done piece. And with that, let's move on and find out what is number 1. And at number 1, we have Meaning of Birth, Luke vs. Ash from Tales of the Abyss. Now, this is by far my favorite fight in the entire game. And I said earlier how I like when a story especially in a video game, builds up to the big boss, you know, a big fight. I love when they build up for that, and this is one of, you know, especially in this game, it builds up for a lot of fights, but it especially built up for this fight. I knew very early on that we were going to have to fight this guy at some point, you know, Ash, and I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but you just knew it was going to fight. And especially I love the scene that happens right before this fight starts, because it just shows how much it built up and that this is going to happen. And I'm actually going to recreate, likely poorly, the a few lines right before the battle starts to give you guys an idea of just how much this was built up. Shut up! This isn't about logic! You can't possibly understand how I feel! You stole my past and my future! Now is all the time I have! Now is all I have too. I don't even have a past to lose, but I've still decided that I'm me. It doesn't matter what you think, here I am. If that's the source of the strength you're talking about, then I won't lose! Well said. I will make those words your last replica! And I just feel that, you know, that's one of my favorite scenes in video games. Just that whole, the whole scene, even what happened before that. But that's, you know, right after what I said is when the battle kicks off, and it just built up so well for this. And I can't say enough about how much I love this fight. You know, Luke versus Ash, the big showdown. I just love it. And then even afterwards, I'm going to talk about the scene slightly afterwards. Ash dies, unfortunately, spoilers, but I won't really explain how. But that was one of the few moments in video games where I actually cried. Like, literally, I cried the first time I saw that. And you know what? I'm not ashamed, because Ash is badass, and I felt bad. But, this song, and I'm going to keep going. It's going to be probably the longest of all the songs I talk about, which I guess is fair, because this is, in fact, number one. And I haven't really even talked about the song itself. So, here we go. Now I'm actually going to talk about the song. Now that I talked about just the boss fight and how well it built up and that made it memorable. This is my favorite song of all time. Let me just put that right down in front of you right now. This is my favorite song of all time. Also, it comes from a game in which Motoi Sakuraba did a lot of the pieces. However, he did not, in fact, do this song. This was actually, in fact, done by... Give me a second here. Moto Fujiwara. Now, I hope I pronounced that right, but, and the interesting thing about this is the fact that this, again, is a orchestra remix, and an amazing one at that, of the opening theme for the game, which was done by a band called Bump of Chicken. And Moto Fujiwara is actually a member of that band, and that's why they had him compose this piece, which I think, like I said, it's my favorite song. It's so well done, and I'd like to just throw in another thing about the song itself, is that, well, it pumps me up, but you also, there's like this whole two-instrument sort of going at the same time effect, with two different sort of styles, in a way, that sort of symbolizes the fight that's happening. And I'd like to give credit to my friend Parnash, who so wonderfully pointed that out, something I hadn't actually thought of. You should go watch his stuff too, but this song, simply amazing, and it is my favorite, and I just couldn't put anything else above it, no matter how hard I tried to see if something could beat it out. They just couldn't. They just couldn't. Especially with just the boss theme is 4, because it's my favorite in that game. It's very memorable. I reenacted probably poorly that one part of the scene, but whatever. It's just amazing. And with that, I'm gonna keep the song going, even though it's probably been going on longer than most people that aren't me would prefer, but to do with closing. So that has been my list, and I don't know if I'm gonna do more lists. If people really like it, tell me about it, or if they don't like it and they think it could be improved, tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to see all your comments, because, you know, if a lot of people enjoy this, I might start doing this maybe 2-3 times a year, lists kind of like this. And even if you don't have an opinion on that, and you just want to put down in the comments your favorite song of boss themes in video games, I'd love to see it, you know? I'd love to see what other people might have put number 1, because you're not me. You're not going to have the same just absolute love for Meaning of Birth or for some of these other songs that I might have. And I'd just like to see what other people would think of that. And with that, this is Mr. Shiny Gyarados signing out, guys. Have a good day, and I'll likely see you in my LP. Until then, goodbye.